and my brain and my body and my eyes. I just wanted to reconnect.
I used to suffer with depression.
And if we destroy nature, we're actually destroying ourselves.
Forest bathing is the translation from the Japanese, which is SHIN-RIN YOKU. I know it's like SHIN-RIN YOKU. I'm not a Japanese speaker, so I just say it the English way, so SHIN-RIN YOKU. And it literally means bathing under the canopy of the forest. So you're underneath the forest environment and you're breathing in the chemicals, the phytoncides, the aromas, the tree aromas that are emitted.
Forest bathing is the latest health craze. Originally developed in Japan in the 1980s, it has recently become popular in the UK in light of the ongoing pandemic. Although the name can be deceiving, you don't need soap and water for this type of bathing. Instead, you are bathing your senses. Using your sight, sound, smell, taste and touch, you can fully immerse yourself in the forest atmosphere. Dr. King Lee is the world's foremost expert in forest medicine, and his studies into the practice of forest bathing have found it can improve both your mental and physical well-being. Research has found it can lower your heart rate, blood pressure and stress hormone production. In 2019, the Forest Bathing Institute partnered with researchers from the University of Derby, and with more and more scientific research going into the study of forest bathing, it is creating traction all over the world.
Could you show me how to do this? It was like, okay, I'll show you how to do it. And then more people started asking me, and then I started getting people from abroad asking me.
I came across articles on forest therapy online and decided it was something that I wanted to try out for myself. After joining different forest bathing groups, I came across one in Nottingham. In doing so, I met Julie, who agreed to take me to Wallerton Deer Park and give me a little bit of insight into why she started her journey to become a licensed forest bathing guide. Julie found out about forest bathing while in lockdown. She suffers from depression and anxiety and had been scrolling through YouTube when it caught her interest. SHIN-RIN Yoku has actually been socially prescribed on the Japanese NHS for 40 years for people suffering from depression, anxiety, mental health issues and physical complaints.
I've had so many lovely interactions with wildlife just by slowing down and stopping. Your mind slows down. I used to suffer with depression and already, like I say, within the 6-month period, I'm on a low dose of antidepressants and pretty soon probably be coming off them.
That's really good.
So it's really good for your well-being. It's a very stressful time for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's stressful enough being locked down, but now, well, as we're opening up and people are going back to work and you're going to be interacting with a lot more people, there's all that stress and anxiety that's involved, and 5 minutes from your local park, that all just goes away.
In a report by the International Journal of Environmental Health Research, it was found that spending just 20 minutes outside in a park can in fact make you feel happier. There's a lot of stigma around hugging trees. Yes, it can feel embarrassing, but it's actually a way of holistically healing yourself. When you hug a tree, it replicates the same hormone production as when you hug a person. It causes a chemical reaction in your brain which increases levels of the hormone oxytocin, which is responsible for making you feel calm, and the production of the hormone serotonin and dopamine, which makes you feel happier. Julie also spoke of her tips and tricks on how to involve yourself in this ever-growing community.
I would look up somebody in your area who does forest bathing and also look on YouTube for videos so you get a sense of what you're getting yourself into. Go out in sensible shoes and obviously take your own mat just in case. And just be open-minded. Don't feel so self-conscious about, like I said before, about tree hugging and you know, immersing yourself in nature. It's a natural thing to do. Just because people have forgotten about doing it doesn't mean that it doesn't have benefit.
Next stop was Newlands Corner in Guildford, where I met with Philippa Bassett from the Forest Bathing Institute. She had invited me and my mum to come along to one of her case studies and see what it was like in more of a group setting. My mum and I were joined by Myra, an avid forest bather, Kathy, who was training, and Wendy, who had never been before. I learnt that share circles are an important part of the forest bathing experience. They give you a chance to reflect on each individual part of the session.
And with the greens, I love the contrast of the new growth against the older trees. Particularly notice the silver of the silver birch against the older trees, the pale silver green, as opposed to the brighter yellow green of some of the other trees.
Yeah, the new leaves are so noticeable at the moment. Yeah, I look at them and I'm like, wow, they're so beautiful too. Yeah, thank you, that's lovely. Inhale and hold it. Your body switches from its sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight branch, which prepares our body for an emergency. So it's loaded with high cortisol, it's an adrenaline, and it's obviously draining to the body, but it prepares us to survive any threat to our being.
Forest therapy brings together a community of like-minded people, with everyone going for their own personal reasons.
One to relax, one for peace, to connect with nature, to really hear the birds, and to stop rushing around in the day, so that you can really take notice and benefit from what's around us and nature and what it gives us.
Well, this is my first time, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I came today because I just wanted to reconnect with nature on a much deeper level, so I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, the honest truth is that partly because I'm training to be a Forest Bathing Plus guide, but also because any excuse to get out here, it's just such a treat for my brain and my body and my eyes. Feel really rested afterwards.
I thought it was very inspiring actually. I learnt a lot today about forest bathing that I didn't know before, and I found it very therapeutic. I found it very relaxing, a bit of an eye-opener. I will be recommending it to people, and I wouldn't mind doing it again actually.
The world has already lost 80% of its forest, and we're continually losing them at a rate of 375 kilometres squared per day. The trees act like the lungs of the earth. They help the planet to breathe by turning carbon dioxide into oxygen. They are used for food, shade, shelter and fuel, and without the functional benefits that urban trees give us, our future would be unclear. Ian Banyard is the founder of Natural Mindfulness. He adopted Amos Clifford's American Forest Therapy program and added in mindfulness himself. Ian is passionate about protecting nature and believes strongly that there is still time to save it.
In a way, I see natural mindfulness as being an antidote to all the manufactured mindlessness that's going on, where people are they're destroying nature without really realizing. There may be a few people that are purposefully doing it, but I think the vast majority of people they're just not really aware. They go out on a weekend, they go into nature, dropping litter, they'd be damaging trees, pulling branches off to make dens, and not actually appreciating that this is something that's alive and is growing, and we need to look after, because at the end of the day, we are nature. And if we destroy nature, we're actually destroying ourselves.
The coronavirus pandemic will inevitably leave a long-lasting impact on the mental health of many in this country. But by spending just a little more time in green space, or bringing nature into your everyday life, it can benefit both your mental and physical well-being.
We have a big mental health crisis at the moment. We're very aware of it now with lockdown, and the focus has been on that. And to me, I know for my own mental health, my own sanity, that going into nature on a regular basis and connecting, not just going in it to ride a bike or walk a dog or chat with friends, but actually going into nature and immersing ourselves in nature and connecting to the aliveness there, and noticing that aliveness in nature is the same aliveness that's in us, that there's a strong connection there. That again, it may well be the antidote to the unwellness that we're all feeling. The too stuck in our thoughts, worrying about tomorrow and dwelling on yesterday that we can do nothing about.